This is the story of me, my early childhood, even through teen years, to adulthood. That's, I believe, one of my earliest pictures. I'm right here. That's me, Lucas. I believe that's a Star Wars shirt. I'm not sure. Anyway, I always look at the t-shirts I had, and there's so many stories. A picture is worth 1,000 words. It really is. Sometimes some of them aren't. Some of them I don't want to look at. Over here on the left is my mom, Maria, and then here is my aunt, her sister Marta. This is Robert Skarupa. That's Marta's son, my cousin. These two, I am not sure. I think one of them is Gabriella, his sister. I think that might be Jacek, or maybe that's Jacek and Kasha, my other cousins. I am really not sure. The way Marta is holding the baby is very indicative of her parenting skills, just like very dismaying. Anyway, I believe this. I was going to say that's in our apartment where we used to live, but I am not sure. I am not sure. Anyway, might be. I don't think it's at my grandmother's house. I don't know, but I must have been 3 or 4 there. Probably might have been going to pre-K and stuff. That was in Poland, where I was born in '79 of September. This is where we used to live. It was actually all the way on top. One, two, three, four, all the way on top over there. And over there, I think it was the attic or attic space. But right here, this was the corridor, and this was our apartment over there. The Nimics actually owned it. They were the ones that actually I think purchased it. It was theirs. And when they went to Austria to eventually come to the States, me, my mom, my dad, we moved over there. It was on street. It was called Biecka. Let me see right here. There's a better view. This is modern right now. It wasn't even that color, and there's a lot of things that change. But it's in Gorlice right here, Gorlice, Poland. That is intersection right here. It was an apartment building. It was pretty much what it was. And this is the school I went to, Gorlice number 4. There's me all the way in the corner. Yeah, that's my teacher. I don't know what her name is. Years later, when I came back to the States, I would come back to the Poland. When I came back to Poland for vacation, she got me uh, this book. I never read it, but she was she only one of the teachers that didn't seem to be a nationalist. She was very as that Thomas Jefferson quote. And I think somebody repeated it. People repeat it over and over. One of the biggest form of patriotism is I messed that up. But just to be open and honest, and even when you live in a country, to be critiquing your own country in a right manner, honestly, not just being blinded by nationalism. At least that's how I take it. That's pretty much being a patriot because you want to resolve things for the right and moral path. Mm. Anyway, I believe that was second grade, my second grade in Poland. And then, well, this is another picture. That's on the right. That's my grandmother. She passed, and my grandfather. They both passed. This is my uncle Janek and his daughter Monika, and that's her mom Maria. She was my godmother. All three of them passed in a car accident, I believe, in 1994. Yeah, March or April of '94. It was just a very disturbing moment how they just vanished. They said they died in a car accident. I was the one that answered the phone call in the States. My grandfather called. Very disturbing, nonetheless. But we spent time before they passed, and that's a very old picture. She must have been 6 or 7 or something like that. I was very much younger. I guess when that picture was taken, I was still living in Poland. That's over at my grandfather's house. Somebody else lives there. One of his daughters lives there right now. This woman, I believe, she was in the States. I never really met her. This is one of my aunts from my dad's side. I don't think there's any blood relation. She's married to one of my uncles. Her name is Eva Eve, but I think I forget what her name was. This and she came from the States. Supposedly there were like second or or different cousins with my grandfather. Um, we used to call them our aunts, but they were pretty much grandmothers. This is where my granddad lived, or Pizza Polska in Poland. It's that's the street name, but it was called Zamkova. That's how we always say we would go. Yeah, it's very beautiful there. I spent a lot of my childhood there. This is how the house looks from the street view. Uh, that's a modern picture of it. This is Danuta Nemec, Donna aka Danuta. I believe. I think that's Monika. Yeah, she's the one that passed in '94, and that's her dad, Yannick. And this, I believe, is Agatha or Agatka Niemiec. They were in Poland there, and that's before the Niemics, migrated to the States or through Austria. Very older picture. That's my grandfather. Must have been '80s or even '90s. I think that's the car that my uncle Yannick passed away in. Who knows if they were there in my grandfather's house and they took the picture because that's the red Fiat, I believe. That's the one they had. Except the back panel was a little bit different. But that's the house, and you could see the rest of the city, the town from that house. I spent some of my childhood at my grandfather's house. It was it was beautiful there, but grandfather passed since then. Very old picture to begin with too. Me and my mom, after in about '87, I believe, or 88, I'm not sure, late '87, we went to Spain because Poland was going through its end of communism, something and like that. There was just a lot of political stuff going around. People were leaving Poland, and if you migrated to a certain country, you went there and you went to the U.S. embassy, they would openly give you a green card and a way to get to the United States. This wasn't Getafe, Madrid. Back then it was Getafe. Later they said it connected to Madrid. A lot of cities do that. This was it was one of the playgrounds, and it was a building. It was beautiful in Getafe. I loved it. That's when I learned to swim. But this was playground. I didn't play there too much. There's a whole story. I remember what happened there. I was trying to explain to the Spanish kid how they just, they had a handball. They hit the ball and they hit it with their hands. And, but I played a couple games there of soccer, football, in that playground. We actually stayed in an apartment building a couple blocks away. That was one of the first times we made it to Getafe and that picture was taken. Uh, I didn't hang around there too much. I hung around in other places with other kids, but yeah, that's one of the pictures I have from Spain. We stayed there for a year and a half. Till we went to the U.S. embassy, we applied for papers and went through screening, and we made it here to the States in '89. That's still this is an apartment we actually stayed at for a couple months with the other Polish family. Later on, we saw them in the States. Yeah, they're friends with a bunch of other people, but here I am. I think it was somebody's birthday, if I don't believe. I want to say communion, but I think it was somebody's birthday. It wasn't a friend. Well, technically it was a friend. I think his name was Tomas, and we used to go to the same school. I got all dressed up. I felt so overdressed when I showed up because everybody was just dressing casual, the children, and we played marbles that day. It was a big thing in Spain for children to play with marbles. That was the first time I've seen marbles, I think, and kids play with it. But I mean, I was overdressed. There's something else that happened there. It gave me anxiety and stuff. But yeah, I'll never forget that picture. I was just, I was just very shy. It was hot. I had to wear that vest and the bow tie. My parents dressed me up. I kind of didn't want to dress like that. But there's no, you're going to a birthday party, this and that. It's something you remember when you're a child. Honestly, when I saw that picture, I was like, wow, they actually had crates in the windows in Getafe, because I really felt safe over there. I really did. I don't know, maybe I was just, young and I didn't see it that way. But, yeah, just very odd. The crates in the windows, I don't remember that. but I do remember this path and this building. Yeah, anyway, that's my dad before he had his belly and stuff. He still had the mustache. Let me see, I was what, 7 or 8, so he must have been like in the 31, 32, something like that. That must have been like 88 or 89 Getafe Madrid, in Spain. Oh, did I skip one? No. This is Atlantic Street, Elizabeth, New Jersey. We moved there in '89. Um, uh, Second Ave and Atlantic. Right next to the turnpike. There was a church there here, in the future. I never went in there or something like that. I just, yeah, the services, whatever. Yeah, this is where I grew up. I mean, in the States. Over here, there was a backyard, and that's how it looked from the back. It didn't look like that when we moved in. My Aunt Helen actually owned the house, and she rented it to us, the downstairs. Yeah, it was just, I had a porch there. My bike was actually stolen there. I had a nice bicycle. It got just stolen there, including a jersey, which we had a clothing line, as you can see here. We didn't have a dryer, so I used to hang the clothes, but an older lady lived on top. A Puerto Rican guy lived next to me for years with a dog. They would just bark, nonstop sometimes. Something happened with my cat. I think he just threw her in here. He just took the cat and threw her in there. She was just so angry at me. Yeah, my cat climbed a tree or something. It was just a cat. He was just a jerk off. He was a total prick. And a lot of people were. But this is where I grew up. And I think, yeah, we just had a garden, but it was only for like 1 year. Most of the time we didn't have anything like that. And my dad and his friend have actually, they had their own business called Zigma. They're the ones that did the siding on the house because it was just deteriorated. Even the stairs, it wasn't even like that. They actually put it together. But yeah, that's where we live in Atlantic Street. That's the front view. There's something that happened. I think there was a fire on the turnpike. That's the turnpike right there. That's the south lane. Um, Here's the church I was referring to on the corner. Over here, we used to play football, tackle football. Or sometimes it was uh, hand tag football, touch football, but we used to play tackle football there. And then they put a railing in here. We still play it. That's how it looked inside. It was an old kitchen. There was the washer. There's our fridge. There's some cabinets. I used to do dishes here when my mom went to Poland. My uncle died. And sometimes I did dishes too. But here's they would just dry out. I mean, it was an older apartment. I kind of like the brick interface here. There's my dad, two Coca-Cola bottles. Oh, and I wasn't drinking Coca-Cola that much. He was drinking, but then he used to smoke. Then there's probably a story behind that. He didn't want me to take the picture or something like that. Um, yeah, that's our kitchen slash dining room in Elizabeth. Yeah, it was very humble. It was a small apartment. That's one of my first friends uh, in Elizabeth. His name was Mario Tello. I found him on Twitter. There's a whole story about him how he said some things and then comedians started saying it. Lisa Lampanelli, presumably. And he's friends with what's this guy's name? There's a whole story with this doofus. This rapper guy, Joe something. I don't know. I'm not gonna get into that. Anyway, he lived. Was it on Loomis? I think Loomis Street, Elizabeth. Yeah. He always talked about he was a Muslim, Latino. He was a Muslim. I thought it was peculiar. He went to Christopher Columbus School. Um, he used to come over once or twice. Yeah, once he slept over, it was just weird. But he had a sister. I believe her name was Christina. Um, there was creepy, disturbing stuff going around. Things took for the turn that it took. I think I seen him a couple years ago, but he pretended like he didn't want to be. He actually didn't want to be seen by me. Yeah, that's Mario, one of my early childhood friends. We we hung around for like 3 years. Eventually he came to the same elementary school, St. Anthony's, and we didn't talk that much afterwards. When he was like in fifth or sixth grade, we weren't friends after that. Saw him a couple years later, and yeah, he was very fake and fraudulent. Hated me very much so. But anyway, Mario right there. Here's me and going to Amazon and Statue of Liberty with my dad. We used to go there a couple times, once or twice, once a year or once in a couple years. You know, people come over from Poland, they want to see it, so I would go. The World Trade Center in the background, as you can see, this was me in the States. You know, me and my dad. You know, he would just take us, he would take me places. Even my other cousins, we would just go to events. There was a boat show. I think it was it was an anniversary of I don't know, Christopher Columbus or something like that, or or just the States. I don't remember. There was a whole boats gathering. We just went. Yeah, over there you could see the Twin Towers in the background. I think it was like 92 or 93. One of the only pictures that I'm just smiling heavily and have my eyes closed. That was in Six Flags Great Adventure. We went there a couple times. That was after I got really sick and I stayed at the Nemec's house. I was so dehydrated after that. I had like a food poisoning or something like that. I thought I didn't know if I was gonna make it. It was very sickening, but that was in the summer of like 92 or 93, I believe. I think I went to Poland after that or something like that. It was a great adventure though. Just me and Elizabeth house. Sometimes I would lay in the living room. I didn't have my TV back then, so I would watch TV in my parents' living room or bedroom rather. It was both. This is where I went to Poland. And Nimitz let me borrow their camera. Yeah, it was an older camera. I would record people in Poland when I went from a vacation. I believe that was in when I had the camera. It must have been '94, and I went there alone. That's dynamic. They called it. They had this was a station wagon. I think they called it the crocodile. It was a long car. They live on Butler Street in Elizabeth. Over here was a building. I don't know. It was like a big warehouse. I think my parents went there for like to learn English like twice a week at night. I think this is Monte Carlo. We actually that was my dad's first car. It looks like it. But that's Butler Street in Elizabeth. I don't know who that guy is. I think his name is Adam. I'm not sure. But anyway, this is Elizabeth, New Jersey. One of the earliest pictures of them. My granddad, and grandma to the left, at their house. That was in a post 2000 picture because they're age. But that's after I came here to the States and about came here '89 and '93. I made my way to Poland. That's that's how their house looks like. Looks like from from Google Maps. It's modern there. Um, I didn't take the photo of where we used to play soccer or something like that, but that's Jaju's house. That's Robert Skorupa. I think that was in '93 when I came back from the States to Poland, and we used to play soccer and all that stuff. He's my cousin. That was a granddad's house on in Gorlice, Zamkova. That's Monika. She died in a car accident a couple months after that picture was taken. Her dad, Yannick, took me and her to the mountains on the Poland side. It was beautiful over there. It was beautiful. I had the Chicago Bulls outfit. I wore it that entire day and stuff. Yeah, there's people telling me to watch out when I go with that, because it's some neo Nazis, just a bunch of hateful people or something like that in Poland. But I remember that day vividly. I think that was I was in the mountains when I was a kid, but I never seen it like that. And plus, I could really remember it when I was like 13 or 14 there. That's a good picture. I think my uncle Yannick took that. He was big on going to mountains. Here you see him. That was in his early years. Well, he must have been in his 30s, but he loved going to the mountains, just walking around. Uh, you know, uh, I mean, he was a bit, I want to say mountain man, but he was one of the people I remember that called me brother. He said in Polish. It was just very peculiar. I don't know if he made some stupid jokes about that, but I just always remembered him for saying that. It was just very. I don't want to say odd, but he just he always talked about when you go in mountains, there's no sir, this and that. We're all on the same level because who knows what could happen. It was a sense of humility. Also, what the mountain thing, and I actually kind of remember him for that. That was me and my granddad's dog named Azor. think it was that was in '93 when I went with my mother to Poland, the first time after being in the States and after Spain. And the fencing, I mean, you can see the old fencing. It was a town, but it was mostly like a village where he lived. You know, even the little barn, he had some chickens there, and that was the I think that was the dog's living quarters. But I think Ozra also slept in the house, and there's a whole story when I was a kid. I used to joke around. He never scared me. He did kind of drool. So I don't know if it was him. I think it was him. And he had a little drool, and people thought I was just scared, intimidated by him. I thought it was funny. He was a really good dog. I remember my grandma also had cats and chickens, but he was a good dog. And my grandfather had I think one or two dogs like that. I cherish that picture very much. So I have braces there. You could tell that weird smile. I have braces. It was just disgusting. It's like a mouthful of metal. It was gross. I hated having braces. That's the other Nimitz family from my mother's side. Their dad passed away in '99, Franek. Artur, Asha, Agnieszka, Eva, with their dog. I think that's Chapek. That's an earlier picture. Yeah, they lived. Some of them lived still in Gorica, Poland. We lived very much close to each other. Agnieszka is here in the States, and Elizabeth, she's in England. He runs a business in Poland, Gorica, Poland, somewhere around there, gas station, and Eva's there too. They're my cousins. My other cousins, Rafa and Vance Grzesiek, and that's a great grandfather, I believe, or something like that. Or he was my grandfather. I messed that up. But I remember coming back. That was either '93, actually '94, and my grandfather actually was wanting to talk to me and stuff. He was just like, he was talking to me. I was surprised that he wanted to talk to me and stuff. I didn't remember him that much from my early childhood years. This was my cousins. Yeah, I think he had black eyes or something like that. Very weird. That was Raphael. Yeah. I never really talked. We're never really close with neither of them. Whole history there. I don't want to go into that right now. They lived. They're actually from my father's side. That's the family from my father's side. I don't have too many pictures of them. I kind of do from early days, like a lot of people. Some of them I have them on Facebook. Who's the relative here? Robert Scrupa. Yeah, I used to do the bunny ears things. No, I think he was wearing the. I think he was wearing that stuff that I had. We would exchange clothes, hand me downs. It was cool. It's something we had growing up. He had a bald haircut. Oh, jeez, I couldn't stand that. Those are the neighbors that lived, the youth, people our age that lived around my grandfather's house. They actually lived there. These two are siblings, and these two are siblings, and this guy, I forget his name, but he's not related to neither of them. They all lived, in a close circuit, and we used to play soccer. When I went there for vacation, on a daily thing, we used to play, soccer and stuff. It was fun. It was, early childhood years, and especially staying in Poland. This is later on. I think it might have been '94, '95 at Nimek's house, Christmas. Robert, his dad, mom, his sister Gabi, Stanley over there, Donna, my mom and dad. Yeah, my dad had he had the long hair. I think I used to call him. I don't know if I called him Marijuana Jesus or something like that. He had a goatee and everything. It was a way different time. Way different time. That's me in high school, St. Mary's. I think that was sophomore year. I think that's the first time I actually had the polo shirts, the blue polo shirts. Uh, Sophomore year of high school must have been let me see, '95 or '96. That's the not the first car I was driving, but it wasn't even legally mine. That's my '97 Isuzu Rodeo SUV. I love that car. It was automatic, but it didn't have the uh, you know uh, half automatic function, but it was a V6. I think it had like 190 horsepower. It was pretty decent. I like that car. It's me standing next to it. Yeah, that's my Isuzu Rodeo again. We had a long driveway. I have a picture of I went back there to this house after like not even looking in the back for like 2 decades or something like that. The people that lived there renovated pretty nicely. We had a long driveway. I used to always park my car here. That's my cat Grosha. She passed away a couple years ago. She had broken legs. She didn't. I'm not broken legs. Her hind legs were hurt. Um, yeah, it's just an early memory. There was an Italian guy that used to live there. Always used to curse. He had two brothers. I'll get into that in another video. There's the driveway. Um, Atlantic Street was over here. This was Second Ave. Yeah. Uh, Things changed there. Elizabeth changed. I think it changed for the better. At least when I see houses, it's really nice what's going on there, especially down the port. That's Daddy-O. I don't know if he did it, but that's his job. One time he crashed into a bus in winter. He just didn't brake and just slammed into a bus. Mom always says that every car he had, he's not destroyed, but he got into an accident a couple times. His van has a couple dents and bruises that uh, he's not the best driver. I don't know if it was him, but yeah, that's over here in Lawrence. Early 2000s. Over here was a Chevy pickup. Oh, jeez, I love that. That's an old car. It was good, but in the end, it just kept you stalling. And there's the old driveway. We actually had gravel on the driveway. Now we have asphalt. Condominiums were still there, and that's Granddad his late years. I don't know why I put that there, but it's a good picture. It's a great shot. Just I kind of always wanted to talk to Granddad. When I went there to talk to him, I was in the right state. In 2004 was the last time that me and him talked, and I was I was just really hurt mentally. But we did talk about a few things, this and that. But yeah, that's Jaju, and I don't want to end this video on this kind of note, on a sad note. My life, it was what it was, and the people in there were how they were. And yeah, this is, I don't know why I put that there, but I thought he passed in like 2010 or 11 or 12. He passed in 2007. Short time after that, my grandma passed away as well. Um, they're they're not there at that house anymore over there. Let me get a good my aunt Litka lives there. At least I think she lives there because she goes to another place to live, but stay. But there's a lot of memories there. I went there last time. I went there was 2015. I was taken back a little. I really was. That's part of my childhood.